Did you have sex with Dee?
No.
You didn't stick your penis anywhere on her?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
We really don't know the true background of this family, as we have unearthed the appearance of a long financial fraud scheme.
The family got medical airlifts, Disney travel, and free housing over the years because of Gypsy's supposed disabilities.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard was born in Louisiana on July 27, 1991, to Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard and Rod Blanchard. Since her birth, Gypsy Rose's mother was certain that her daughter wasn't normal like other children. As per Dee Dee's self-diagnosis, Gypsy Rose had muscular dystrophy from birth, a genetic disorder that gradually degenerates muscles. Dee Dee was convinced that her infant daughter would need a walker to get around. When the newborn Gypsy Rose was 3 months old, Dee Dee took her to doctors because she thought something was wrong with her daughter's breathing. She fabricated and exaggerated Gypsy's symptoms so convincingly to doctors that she ultimately had Gypsy diagnosed with sleep apnea. Despite the diagnosis, Dee Dee was sure that there was another underlying issue. Over time, Dee Dee's strong beliefs about Gypsy's illness intensified. Dee Dee shared with her husband Rod that the root cause of all of Gypsy's health problems was chromosomal disorder. When Gypsy was 7 years old, Dee Dee even informed all her extended family about how this disorder restricted Gypsy's range of motion, and that her daughter would have to spend her entire life in a wheelchair.
It took something like a hurricane to make us have a happy ending.
Dee Dee was happy enough just having medical care for Gypsy. She says she never expected this.
It's amazing. It's amazing, the outpouring of love and support.
Dr. Janet Jordan met Dee Dee and Gypsy while on a mission trip to the hurricane-ravaged areas. She says she knew right away she'd see them again.
It was pretty devastating down there, it really was. And they never ever lost hope. I think they brought hope to everybody else that was down there.
By the time Gypsy turned 8, her mother had added 2 more diseases to the list of something's wrong with my daughter. She claimed that Gypsy had leukemia and epilepsy. Dee Dee was already making Gypsy use a wheelchair and a feeding tube for her muscular dystrophy. Later, when the story unfolded, one of Gypsy's doctors, neurologist Bernardo Flasterstein, remembered that Gypsy could stand up and hold her own weight. He was the same doctor who had suspicions about Dee Dee, but was unable to do anything because of a lack of evidence. Gypsy Rose genuinely believed that she had leukemia, a form of white blood cell cancer. She revealed that Dee Dee had her taking medications for it, to make her web of manipulative lies sound real. Dee Dee even shaved her head to make it look like Gypsy was going through cancer treatment. From a very young age, Dee Dee had started giving anti-seizure medication to Gypsy for her epilepsy. The prescribed drugs brought along oral health problems for Gypsy. However, Dee Dee attributed Gypsy's crumbling teeth to a supposed sugar allergy. Her mother went all out, numbing Gypsy's gums to induce drooling.
So where are you going today?
I'm going to Children's Mercy Hospital to see my dentist for my teeth.
She even persuaded doctors to surgically remove her salivary glands. And as Gypsy got older, she blamed Gypsy's seizures for damaging her brain. Dee Dee later included asthma as well as hearing and visual impairments in the list of Gypsy's medical issues, from using a breathing machine to getting her teeth pulled out due to medical side effects and neglect. Dee Dee had made Gypsy's life nothing short of a living hell. The only genuine health problems Gypsy faced were a slight lazy eye and less than perfect vision, for which she wore thick glasses and underwent eye surgery to improve the eye muscles. As per Gypsy's father Rod and Dee Dee's nephew Bobby Petrie, Gypsy was born slightly premature, but she was overall a very healthy baby. When Gypsy Rose was 5 years old, she scraped her knee by falling off her grandfather's motorcycle. Dee Dee turned this minor mishap into diagnosing her daughter with paralysis. When Dee Dee declared Gypsy couldn't walk and had her confined to a wheelchair, one man was able to see through her lies, and this was Bobby Petrie.
He was my aunt, real weird girl. I would think she's bipolar, no doubt. Multiple personalities, perhaps. Definitely an evil person, I would say.
There were two occasions that made Petrie skeptical of Dee Dee's claims: when he saw Gypsy pushing her cousins around in a wheelchair, and another time when she joined her cousins in jumping on a trampoline. On both occasions, Gypsy showed physical abilities, contrary to her mother's narrative of her condition. When Dee Dee caught sight of Gypsy jumping, she shouted so loudly that poor Gypsy, scared of her mother, pretended to be paralyzed and got back to her wheelchair. The relatives of Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard recalled that Dee Dee had a habit of stealing to show her retaliation when things didn't happen according to her.
She was a very filthy person. If it didn't go her way, she'd see to it that you would pay. And did we pay?
She opened up credit cards with my dad's name, my grandpa's name, ran up crazy bills. Supposedly, America's Most Wanted was looking for this girl.
The reason Dee Dee had basic medical knowledge that she misused to her advantage was because she had experience working as a nurse's aide. Claudine's family had doubts about her involvement in the death of her stepmother in 1997. According to Gypsy, Dee Dee harbored a strong dislike for her stepmother. Her hatred for Laura reached a point where Dee Dee would add Roundup, an herbicide, to her mother's food.
She was poisoning my stepmother. Supposedly, she was giving her some Roundup in her food and stuff.
The similar claims made by Dee Dee's father and her cousin added a whole lot of weight to the gravity of this disturbing information.
What was Dee Dee like as a child?
She was okay. We were pretty close, me and her. Yeah, I'd give her everything that she wanted anyway, whatever she wanted, and except a dog in the house. I didn't want that.
The 24-year-old Dee Dee met Rod Blanchard when he was only 18 years old. They got married in 1991 when Dee Dee got pregnant while dating him. Their age gap clearly indicated the imbalance in the power dynamic. Not only was Dee Dee 7 years older than him, but Rod was a minor at that time. He wasn't an adult legally. The couple decided to name their incoming baby Gypsy because Dee Dee liked it and Rod was a fan of the hard rock band Guns N' Roses.
A healthy, pretty little baby, named her Gypsy Rose. I was excited and very scared. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I'm 18 years old and I got a baby here, so.
But she was beautiful and perfectly healthy.
Yeah, she was. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with her. She looked perfect.
I see you. You want to blow me a kiss? Very good.
But as soon as Rod turned 18, he realized that he didn't love Dee Dee and hadn't married her for the right reasons. Shortly before Dee Dee gave birth to Gypsy, Rod separated from her. Despite the divorce, Rod shared a close bond with his daughter in the early years. Growing up, Gypsy got the idea that she wasn't as chronically ill as her mother made her believe, but she didn't realize the extent of the lies her mother had spun. So why did Dee Dee make Gypsy chronically ill when she was in fact perfectly healthy? Well, it was suspected that Dee Dee was likely suffering from Munchausen by proxy. It's a very rare behavioral disorder that mostly affects caretakers and mothers. Mothers affected with this mental illness behave in a way that comes under child abuse. In Dee Dee's case, she diagnosed Gypsy with various medical conditions as a means of maintaining control. Through the administration of medications and instilling her fear, Dee Dee went so far as to create situations that led to Gypsy appearing genuinely ill. Dee Dee used her likable nature and caring attitude to deceive people around her. The doctors who used to question her regarding Gypsy's illnesses didn't hear from her again. Not once did Dee Dee show Gypsy's real medical records to any doctor. She would fabricate the reports or lie that Gypsy's medical records were lost during Hurricane Katrina.
Insurance has 23.
Okay, alright, so how old actually are you? Let's get back to 19, okay.
Me and my mother are Hurricane Katrina survivors.
Okay.
And my birth certificate was washed away in Katrina.
Okay.
And unfortunately, they messed up, a long time ago they messed up the paperwork.
As Gypsy got older and capable of answering doctors' questions herself, Dee Dee refrained Gypsy from disclosing any information and didn't let her speak, explaining all these symptoms herself. As detailed in Gypsy's Lifetime docuseries, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Dee Dee had stolen a prescription pad and got her access to all drugs without having to visit a doctor. Nothing about Gypsy Rose was real except for the fact that a helpless girl was trapped with her abusive and exploitative mother. From her birth certificate to her age, everything was a lie. Dee Dee's ability to remember and fluently use medical terms along with her portrayal of a caring mother worked greatly to fool doctors. This answers the question of why so many doctors were convinced of the diagnosis Dee Dee made for her daughter. After all, who can know the child better than the mother they thought?
She'd hit me with a coat hanger, or her palm, and I'd have to take so many slaps for depending on how severe it was that I did.
Did you ever try to hit back?
Never.
But whatever the reasons, medical negligence played a part in the consequences that led Gypsy to take the steps she took. On what basis did the doctors decide to carry out surgeries on Gypsy? She was operated on for her assumed eye muscle weakness, removal of her salivary gland, teeth extractions, and feeding tube installation.
Where are you going today?
I'm going to Children's Mercy Hospital to see my dentist for my teeth.
The Blanchards took advantage of the donations they got in the name of Gypsy's long list of terminal illnesses. Dee Dee enjoyed the free trips to Disney World and capitalized on support services intended for disabled individuals. As suspicions grew within Dee Dee's family about her shady behavior, Dee Dee decided to leave her house along with Gypsy without telling anyone. Using Hurricane Katrina to her advantage in 2005, Dee Dee brought Gypsy to a special needs shelter in Covington, Louisiana. She showcased her apartment as doomed, even presenting photos as evidence. Witnessing Gypsy's condition, shelter doctor Janet Jordan was moved to tears. Gypsy had to comfort her with the words, "It's okay, you're only human." Their move to Missouri, recommended by Dr. Jordan, soon grabbed headlines as a nonprofit organization, Habitat for Humanity, gifted Dee Dee and Gypsy a house in Springfield. They even painted the house pink and built a wheelchair ramp for Gypsy.
Dr. Janet Jordan met Dee Dee and Gypsy while on a mission trip to the hurricane-ravaged areas. She says she knew right away she'd see them again.
They're like lost souls who were meant to have been born and raised in Aurora.
The mother-daughter duo was always in the media spotlight as Dee Dee continued to scam the government and NGOs to avail financial assistance. Gypsy also received a specialized wheelchair-friendly car and numerous gifts from the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
It didn't take a lot to convince Dee Dee and her daughter Gypsy Rose to make a new home in Aurora. They already knew it was meant to be.
It is the perfect town, the perfect place.
In 2009, an anonymous call to the police reported that Gypsy's health condition wasn't as severe as her mother had claimed. Following the tip, the police visited Dee Dee's house to check reports about the claims she made about Gypsy's health. To avoid police suspicion, Dee Dee kept talking in circles, blaming her ex-husband Rod for the inconsistencies in the medical reports. To save face, Dee Dee made Rod the bad guy, declaring his fear and threats as the reasons they abruptly left their house and moved to Missouri. It didn't take much time for the officer to check Gypsy's security card and realize that Gypsy was 18 years old rather than 14 years old. Her mother claimed her to be. As mentioned in this police report, Gypsy appeared mentally handicapped to the officer.
We really don't know the true background of this family, as we have unearthed the appearance of a long financial fraud scheme.
The family got medical airlifts, Disney travel, and free housing over the years because of Gypsy's supposed disabilities.
It was a facade that translated online. Donations pouring in for Gypsy's reported muscular dystrophy and leukemia.
Finding out about her real age was the final devastating revelation for Gypsy before meeting someone who would drastically alter the course of her life for the worse. Longing for freedom from her mother's suffocating control, Gypsy felt trapped by the 24/7 dictation of her mother on her head. The next thing Gypsy tried was to escape her house and get free from her mother's custody. In 2011, Gypsy began chatting online with an unnamed man she met at a sci-fi convention. The 35-year-old man took Gypsy to his hotel room, but Dee Dee found out about her daughter's whereabouts on time and reached the hotel with all the paperwork to confirm Gypsy's minor status. Enraged by the incident, Dee Dee destroyed the family's computer and warned Gypsy about hammering her fingers next time. Eventually, she got another computer, but was only allowed to use it under her supervision. In 2013, Gypsy Rose matched Nicholas Gojon on the dating website, ChristianDatingForFree.com. And some conversations later, she fell head over heels in love with him. As their online interactions grew, they created a private Facebook page to share messages with one another without the fear of getting caught by Dee Dee. Nicholas always insisted to meet in person, but Gypsy was worried about how he'd react to her confined in a wheelchair life. Embarrassed by this fact, she mustered up the courage to tell the truth to Nicholas that she didn't need a wheelchair, but her mother had forced her to use it. In early 2015, Gypsy Rose finally decided to meet Nicholas Gojon in person at the screening of Cinderella at a local cinema in Missouri. This time, Gypsy planned to go with her mother in the hopes of getting her approval for Nicholas. Instead of telling Dee Dee about her 2-year-long relationship, Gypsy acted as if she was meeting Nicholas for the first time. Things didn't go as planned when Gypsy came back from consummating her relationship in a bathroom stall. Dee Dee was boiling in anger and strictly prohibited her from meeting Nicholas again. Returning home, Dee Dee punished Gypsy and called her all sorts of names for at least 2 weeks straight. This was the saturation point for Gypsy Rose. She was never more sure about murdering her mother. Nicholas Gojon had been previously involved in showing inappropriate behavior in public. In 2013, he was taken into custody for masturbating in McDonald's. Prompted by the report made by the manager, police arrested him and even confiscated a switchblade that he owned without a permit.
Gojon also has a criminal past. In 2013, he was arrested after investigators say he was watching pornography and fondling himself in a McDonald's restaurant for 9 hours. Police finding a large knife during the arrest.
During her dating period in 2013, Gypsy wanted to escape her house and live with Nicholas so badly that she asked him to kill her mother. Nicholas had been into adult stuff like fetishes and kinks. He introduced Gypsy to different types of kinks that led her to post submissive posts and pictures with knives on her Facebook page. Gypsy had even developed different personas to satisfy the multiple personalities Nicholas claimed to have. After the mishap of events at the cinema, Gypsy couldn't think straight and felt like she had to make a choice from the 2 options she had. Either get pregnant with Nicholas's baby or get her mother out of the way by murdering her. Gypsy was sure that the thought of her baby would make Dee Dee accept Nicholas as Gypsy's boyfriend, but Nicholas wasn't interested in this plan. This led them to the other lethal option, planning and executing the murder of Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard. Gypsy Rose took care of the financial aspects of the murder plan. She took a big chunk of money from Dee Dee to accommodate Nicholas's transport to Springfield. Nicholas Gojon sneaked into the Blanchard house in the late hours of the night. Gypsy stood waiting for his arrival to hand over a pair of blue gloves and a huge, jagged knife. Before proceeding to execute his sinister plan, Nicholas texted Gypsy to get her ass to the bathroom. Crouching on the floor, Gypsy obeyed his orders and stood in the bathroom with hands on her ears to prevent Dee Dee's screams, while Nicholas brutally stabbed her to death. Dee Dee was fast asleep when Nicholas attacked her from the back and stabbed her 17 times. Nicholas and Gypsy were quick to get hold of the situation and immediately left the house as the body of Dee Dee lay lifeless, drenched in her own blood. With no remorse for the gruesome act of murder they had just committed, Gypsy shared a message on her Facebook saying, "That bitch is dead." Gypsy later revealed the reason she posted those messages was to prompt the people to discover Dee Dee's dead body. As per the latest information in her newly released documentary, Nicholas had non-consensual sex with Gypsy after the murder, as she refused him to rape Dee Dee before the murder, as he had fantasized.
What do you think about people that have sex with dead bodies?
It's quite disturbing, honestly.
Okay, that would bother you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like necrophilia.
Okay. Did you have sex with Dee?
No.
You didn't stick your penis anywhere on her?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Positive?
I'm 100% positive.
Okay. Did you stick your penis in her mouth?
Nope.
Okay. Did your penis touch anywhere on Dee's body?
Nope.
Because I think one of the things that she might have said was that you had mentioned that you'd like to rape her mom.
Yeah, at one point I was thinking about it.
Okay.
He had wanted to rape my mother. That's what he wanted to do. He was like, I'm gonna kill her, but I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm gonna rape her. So what I did was I made a deal with him. I'd let him rape me, and then he wouldn't do that to my mom.
Later, they took around $4,000 to $5,000 in cash that Dee Dee had saved from Rod's child support money. Before going to Nicholas's house, they stayed in a motel outside Springfield to stay low.
Hi, honey. I'm feeling it. He's eating a brownie. But later he will be eating me.
They thought they had gotten away with murder, but they were recorded on several CCTVs at different stores. To avoid being caught by the police, Gypsy and Nicholas decided to mail the murder weapon to his house in Wisconsin, while they reached the house via bus. Many people noticed Gypsy Rose styling a blonde wig and walking perfectly fine at the Greyhound station. When Gypsy and Dee Dee's friends saw the Facebook post, they knew something had happened. After the calls were left unattended, they decided to visit her house. The neighbors knew that the mother-daughter duo would often go on medical trips without telling anyone. But when they saw the car still parked in the driveway, but nobody answering the door, they immediately called 911. When police finally got their hands on the warrant, they broke inside to find a horrible reality waiting for them. Dee Dee's body was found in her room, with the pungent smell of her rotten blood and wounds. Everyone's focus was on Gypsy Rose. They were concerned about what happened to her and how was she managing without her wheelchair, oxygen tank, and medications that were all found in the house. One of the people who gathered at the Blanchard's house lawn was Wood Mancy, who knew about Gypsy and her secret relationship.
Anytime Gypsy and I were together, her mom was always present. She was immediately like a filter for us, like Gypsy wouldn't talk about anything personal while we were together. That's like really the big red flag, thinking back on it all now.
With the help of the evidence and clues she provided, the police raided Nicholas's house and arrested both of them on charges of murder and felony armed criminal action. The public's sympathies shifted back to Gypsy when they learned about the abuse Dee Dee had inflicted upon her. Gypsy was sentenced to only 10 years in prison for the charge of second-degree murder, while Nicholas was charged with first-degree murder with a life sentence without parole. After serving only 8 years out of 10 in prison, Gypsy was recently released on parole on December 28, 2023. Since her release, Gypsy Rose has been very active on social media, sharing her life's cautionary tale on various social platforms.
See, I'm finally free. I just want to send a quick video to thank everyone for the massive amount of support that I've been getting on social media. Everyone has been really, really nice and supportive. I really appreciate that.
Recently, on the 5th of January, Gypsy and her husband, Ryan Scott Anderson, who she tied the knot with in 2022 in prison, were seen attending the premiere of her Lifetime docuseries, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard in New York City. Reminiscing about the incident, Gypsy regrets planning the murder of her mother and claims to still love her.
When you look back, do you think there are ways that this could have been handled differently?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I look at things in hindsight, and I realized that there were other options besides murder, but I was so sheltered that I couldn't see them at the time.
As her coping mechanism, she thinks of the entire incident like an addict with an impulse. Though many questions for her not simply escaping and exposing the lies of Dee Dee instead of murdering her, but as the victim of child abuse. Gypsy Rose was afraid of her mother and feared that no one would have believed her in front of her mother.
Many people just can't understand why you didn't just get up and walk out of that wheelchair. You weren't sick.
It's mental, it's emotional, it's physical. All these reasons combined together is what prevented me from just walking out of that situation.
Give us a sense of the fear that you felt.
I feared more than anything that if I ran away, that things would be worse for me at home.
That's all we have for you today. If you liked the video, consider subscribing for more content like this. Thanks for watching.
Did you get your happy ending?
I think I did.
Time will tell. I think I'm a Prince Charming.